Do you know, I don't know if I'm a fan of this. I think me playing the ukulele really badly last week was probably better than this. But it would do, it's what it's all about, isn't it? I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. Hello, and welcome to It's Always Scrummy in Plymouth, officially the unofficial Plymouth Albion podcast. It's the one by the fans, for the fans, and we're going to be talking about how Plymouth Albion got on in their first home fixture of the season against newly promoted Clifton. If you are not following on the socials, It's Always Scrummy in Plymouth, Instagram, Facebook, and if you're not already, subscribe on Spotify. If you're feeling generous and want to give us a 5-star review, go ahead. If you don't feel it's 5-star review, just leave it. Just leave it. Just leave it. Okay, please don't do that. It's not worth it. Okay, and also subscribe on YouTube. So what have we got coming up today? We'll be talking about Plymouth Albion's monumentally huge, overwhelmingly positive performance, absolutely thrashing Clifton. And then we're going to be talking Albion news, the league position, fixtures coming up. We'll also be talking about the other scores and results in National League One, looking at those teams to be watching out for and how that's affected the league positions. We'll be then just looking a bit more depth into how did that performance go against Clifton, who really shone, who scored tries, a very long list of people there. And we're again looking ahead to who Albion have got next, what other big fixtures are in National League One. And of course, my favourite part, we'll be looking at the socials. What have the fans been saying? What have they... It's all going to be positive, of course. It's all good because we're just living the dream right now. Okay, so we're checking out the fan socials. I'll then be discussing a few things Albion related that have been popping up in my day-to-day life by going through this scrummy phase. And then we'll be going to the lovely Livy, who'll be giving us some fun rugby facts at the very end. So all that coming up, make sure you subscribe. To the game itself then, Plymouth Albion 62, Clifton 5. So absolutely hammering, absolute mauling at the Brickfields. And I've got all these notes here about the game, but ultimately, just the better team won. So after a fantastic performance away at Leeds Tykes last week, Albion just had the one change in the starting lineup. That was Angus Hodges coming in on the open side for Jago Shepherd. So thoroughly deserved players keeping their place in the team. And I've got these notes here about the game itself. But I mean, 10 tries, basically everybody scored. All right, everybody scored. Clifton got one try just at the start of the second half, which I missed. I was in the vice president's bar, so I've got a vice presidency membership this year, and I was checking out the private bar, sort of sat in my seat going, yeah, I'm king of the castle, love and knife. Missed it getting out. I missed it on my way out to the Brunel stand. So so I can't really comment on that, but it's just painting the picture really. Like that was just a soft try right at the start of the second half, very similar to away to Leeds, just two kind of soft tries. But yeah, an absolute hammering, and the rugby on display was really out of this world. The fans at Brickfields this season, we are going to be in for a huge treat. So really, some other elements of the game that are just really pleasing is how good that scrum is looking. So I mentioned last week that absolutely annihilated Leeds in the scrum, and again it was similar to that process. Again, they were just really winning lots of scrum penalties. And I was sort of explaining to my friend who was there about how important it is because those scrum penalties are leading to points. So one of the tries, win a scrum penalty, kick to the corner, line out over. So that's the really key part of the game now. We're not just a team that plays out at the backs. We have that element. We have that string to our bow now, which is really going to be important as the season comes on, based around a strong scrum. So a huge credit to the front row on that sort of terms and everybody else around it. Albion, there's always been talk about the line out. for because there's been a couple sort of games in that sense to where it's been looking pre-season looking a bit rusty. But again, I thought the line-out looked good. There was a few going to the back that didn't quite hit. But we have to remember, guys, these guys are part-time players. They've got other types of jobs, everything. That's just something to work on. They've got a new second row in Freddie Stevenson as well, who is a safe option at the front. But the fact they kept every now and then trying to go to the back, they're trying these things. They're not just shying away, burying their head in the sands or whatnot. They are trying these things out, and that will get there with time because they've got a quality group of players there. But again, just what a great addition Freddie is into the team there. Just a safe option at the front, using his experience from up in the higher leagues from Coldy. And the lineup went well. Driving more, got several tries. So those key assets to any rugby team, we have got those, and they're going to need that in those really, really big games. And for the casual fans, or even just the diehard fans as well, the most pleasing thing is just how great it's looking in the backs. We are playing absolute champagne rugby at the moment. Just the difference between the two sides, the handling, the actual pop passes. There's one point, Jensen Bornton's running through, and he thinks he's going to run all the way rather than popping inside. But they're the handling from everybody across the board. So they've clearly been working really hard on this. Ryan Lamb, classy player he was himself back in the day. They're really getting these things across the bed, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. And you can tell the players and the fans were loving it down the brickfields as well. But oh my days, one of the tries just before the end of the half, it was getting to the end of the half, and it was just kicking back and forth. Classic kind of what you see sometimes in the Six Nations with ball for kicking along. Uh, and then our fly half, Harry Legg catching it, absolutely spins it out wide. I think it went to Jack Alton. I was getting a bit excited at this point and run through, took a few people on, got it out wide to Oscar Stewart, who chips it through, outpaces everybody, then goes down into the corner, crowd going absolutely wild. And it was just many sort of situations like that. Second half as well, a little sort of outside pass, little dink in there for Frankie Dart, who then just wiggles his way through. But it was just the handling was just brilliant. I've not enjoyed seeing rugby like that so much in the future. And again, it'll be interesting to see how this develops when the weather gets worse, because we still have those fundamentals of having a really strong pack in the scrum, and the lineout's going to be getting better. And again, Frankie Dart is getting pretty much all those kicks. He is a man who's really stepping up to that, making that fullback role his own, and the kick in his own as well. And lots of turnovers from loads of members who are across the field. Like Clifton were barely in our half, and when they did have a bit of a 5 minutes down, big turnover from Ben Moa at one point, which I thought was really key because we just gave him nothing across the whole pitch. But oh my days, what an enjoying game to watch. And I sort of said about that, I think we had a few fly halves last year, and it's very clear now that Harry Legg's made that his, and he is really sort of dictating that play of the backs with his little passing and all sorts, and it's just looking brilliant. I'm really, really enjoying it. And again, Harry Legg, I think he's one to be looking out for in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if his future might be above National One, but hopefully that will be with Plymouth Albion. Another entertainment side to the game at the Brickfields. Not only was it just fantastic rugby we also just saw raw passion. And that's what the fans adore to see. That's what they love to see. Because Clifton really brought the handbags with them to this game. They really got the handbags out. They did not like being just really steamrolled by a better side. So there's a bit of argy-bargy, a bit of handbags going around. And my moment of the game was when Joel Broadhurst was receiving a bit of lip from opposition scrum half for Clifton, Mitch Spencer, who is not the tallest man I've ever seen on a rugby pitch. And Joel went down to eye level and sort of compared his height, which got a huge chuckle from the fans. Really, really sort of. And if you haven't seen it, if you look at Albion's socials, there's some cracking images of that moment. But yeah, Clifton did not like losing at all. And Mitch Spencer, you were winding up everybody, weren't you? Like just accept you were just losing that day. But yeah, the Albion guys gave it as much as they received it, and just were not letting those guys come and get inside their heads and actually just try and do daft stuff in the pitch. So great from that side. And on that note, always scrumming Plymouth man of the match. It's not always about who scores the most tries on this and that. It will be George Bryce, who's always a consistent performer, and he gave the fans that moment of laughter with his antics. Thank you for that one, Joel. Looking at the fixtures and the scores across the league, across National 1. So just to keep you guys really updated, Albion's huge win, the 62-5 win over Clifton, has put us top of the league, which is brilliant, with a maximum 10 points. Looking at other scores across the league, the division then, we've got Birmingham Moseley with 49, Leicester Lions, very difficult not to say Tigers, Leicester Lions were 21, Blackheath, so one of the teams we're keeping a really close eye on for, because we're expecting them to be near the top, 33. Bishop Stortford, 31. So a very narrow victory there for Blackheath. And also, Bishop Stortford sounds, well, losing just by the 2 points, getting 4 tries and a losing bonus point there. So really good performance there, taking points out of that game as well. Possibly a team to really be looking out for again. Rams, 73. Dings 24, 11 tries from the Rams there, so they outdid us there today. Rotherham, another team we're expecting to be high flying this season, 52. Leeds Tigers, our opposition last week, 12. Century Park, 27. Sale, 22. And then the big game, the big game this weekend just gone was Tonbridge Danes, who are a team to look out for. We think they've invested heavily, 22. Rosslyn Park, 29. So big away victory there for Rosslyn Park. They are looking strong. Expected them to be right up there this season. So as I said, Albion are sitting high, top of the league, which is incredible. Much better start to the season than last. They're on a maximum 10 points, so 2 bonus try victories. And so many other teams. So Rams are sitting handsomely in second place at the moment. Rams they always invest heavily. They start the season really strong last year and then tailed away for whatever reason that is. So maybe they're looking again to be really pushing on this year. Third place, Rotherham, as we said in the past, looking like they're going to be really pushing strong. And then Rosslyn Park, 4th on 10 points, and Blackheath on 4 points as well. So we've got 5 teams there, all on 10 points, that we were kind of expecting to be there or thereabouts. So looking really interesting in the league. And then just sitting behind them, we've got Bishop Stortford on 7 for those 2 valuable losing bonus point and try bonus point, and then Tonbridge. So looking really closely there. The league is looking really, really exciting. Looking forward after that huge victory for Plymouth Albion, we are going to be back on the road at Bishop Stortford. So our first test against a legit, well-established National League One rugby team. And Bishop Stortford is always a tough game away, and they always tend to do really well in the league. They're never quite right at the top, but it's a huge banana skin here. And as I sort of said before, they put a really good, strong performance away at Blackheath, who we are expecting to be at the top of the league there or thereabouts anyway. They lost by just the narrow 2 points, so they'll be wanting to rectify that, and that's going to be a very, very tricky game for us. So really looking forward to that. I imagine the players must be on a huge high, and they'll be looking forward to actually really testing themselves against a legit, well-established team, just like Plymouth Albion are themselves. And I will be there, of course. I will be making the journey up, this time with Albion Travel. So really looking forward to seeing what that brings there. When contacting them, heard that numbers are low for Albion Travel. So if you're interested in coming along, get in contact with them. Get on the Facebook socials, drop them an email at Albion Travel, and come along. Come join me on this journey. If they're going to be leaving Saturday 7 o'clock in the morning, there and back in a day. Other fixtures to be looking out for a National One. So we've got, there's no sort of top of the table clash as such, but we've got Clifton will be back at home. They'll be playing against Rotherham, so big long journey there for Rotherham. Hopefully Clifton can do us a favour there. Dings will be a home to Tonbridge. Again, looking out for Tonbridge, think how they're going to bounce back after their first defeat of the season, but still thinking they're going to be a very strong team. Leeds Tykes will be a home to Sedgley Park. Leicester Lions will be a home to Blackheath. Again, one we'll be watching very closely, Blackheath on the road. Rosslyn Park versus Birmingham Moseley. Hopefully, again, Birmingham can do us a favour. Birmingham are a very strong team. Then we've got Sale at home to the Rams. So, probably looking at that, Bishop Stortford versus Plymouth Albion is probably the fixture to look out for. If I was any fan of any other team in the division, you'd be looking at, well, Plymouth Albion put some huge scores. They're top of the league, but they could be playing away from home. And it's against a non-newly promoted team. So, big game, lads. Looking forward to being there. Looking forward to seeing another positive performance. News. Not just any news, but this is fans' news. This is my favourite part of always on the show. I absolutely adore reading the socials. And, Albion are flying high at the top of the league at the moment. So, of course, this is all going to be just positive stuff, isn't it? So, let's have a look. I've completely forgotten what sort of snippet it is. So, first comment here from a gentleman who won't name names. Brilliant result. However, a point of concern I will raise with you separately. What an unbelievably weird comment to leave on the Albion full-time score post. I'm really curious to what that point of concern he wants to raise with Plymouth Albion separately is. I actually commented saying, like, could I have an exclusive? Can I have an exclusive? I got no response. If I do get a response, guys, I'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, nothing. But at least he's pleased with the result. But there's a point for concern. Maybe we'll find out, but maybe we'll never know what that point of concern is. So yeah, a bit of a cliffhanger there, guys. Sorry. Next one. Great crowds. How many other Division 1 teams would get 1,400 turning up? Valid point. It was just shy of 1,500. So yeah, absolutely huge crowd. It felt bigger as well because I think just the performance and crowd really getting behind the team on a sunny day, and it was a feisty encounter at times, which was just made it very very entertaining to watch. So the crowd felt huge. Felt like the good old days when they had that stand, like the temporary stand, and people all the way around. But yeah, it makes you think, why can't we get like 2,000 fans in? I actually brought a friend along from work who's not really a rugby fan, never been to Plymouth Albion, lives out in Torquay as well, and he wants to come back. He's also said, because he went to University of Sheffield, he's like, let's go to Rotherham. Love to go back to Sheffield. So we're going to be going to Rotherham away, and he wants to go to the Rotherham home game. I've got a new fan. Can't we all do that? It's a bit like that Jamie Oliver when he was saying, like, if you teach one person how to cook a meal, they can pass two. So how about we all go bring one fan and then they bring a few more fans? Let's get to that 2,000. Let's make it an absolute fortress because none of the other teams in the league are getting those kinds of crowds. Make it a really sort of intimidating atmosphere. On top of that comment, there's a comment on the comment on the comment. It says 3,000 at Camborne in Division 2. Oh, yeah, that's brilliant. Cornish support them strong. Camborne got a lot of money there, a lot of backing. Sam Matvesi, Albion legend, made his comeback there for those guys as well. So yeah, Southwest Rugby's in a good place. Next comment. Pasty shed with no pasties at half time. Huffy emoji. I don't know if I want to get involved, but there's a few more comments topics as well. I've made my things. I've made them clear on this topic. Yeah, the next comment. They had run out of passes at 2:45. It's becoming regular, this. And on top of that, someone else. Oh dear, I thought they'd addressed that problem, which happened a few times last season. Again, for my regular listeners, I've made this concern. It's sort of a bit of a joke, but now it's just teasing me off. But I have spoken to someone at Plymouth Albion, and they kind of raised what the issue is, and it's actually they were throwing away too many last year, and they were donating them as well, and they're just going to be not making money out of that. And we're fans, we don't want the club wasting money in that sort of sense, and they go the amount of food they order in, they go by how many people bought tickets. So really, for us to have the best fan experience and for Albion themselves as a club to just be doing the right thing for them as a business is really to have as many of us as possible booking tickets in advance, which I think seems reasonable. You save money as well, but that's just going to let everybody know how many people are turning up and this and that. You're obviously going to have people turning up on the day, but if you're a regular or if you know you're going to go, get your tickets in advance. And then last comment here, and it's a long one. Can anyone explain why concession tickets aren't available online? It's no accident that 75% of those queuing are gentlemen of advanced years. Many have been supporters for 50 years or even longer. I've brought this up several times over recent years. The only response I've ever had was that it was all too difficult. I don't know, is that too difficult? Like, our hardcore advanced years is advanced, but fans, not going to get the concessions in advance. You know, they're getting, as I said, getting told in advance, getting told buy tickets in advance, but they can't get their concession prices in advance. So we've got war heroes, we've got retired doctors queuing up to get their tickets, their concession tickets. We're just appealing to the youth with their swipes. No, no. These advanced gentlemen who've been supporting the club through thick and thin for 50 years, they should be able to get their concessions in advance, okay? We have sorted out shouty man, and this is the next thing we need. And I'm going to just, for you good gentlemen of advanced years, for me, on behalf of It's Always Scrummy Person, I'm going to give you 10-second silence just to show my respect and appreciation for you guys. Thank you on behalf of me, guys. Keep turning up. You deserve better. We'll get that sorted. And that's it. That is fan social news. Looking at actually my sort of latest experiences since starting this podcast, I'm getting a lot of messages from Albi fans all over the place myself. Got a few more listeners in I've had listeners in Portugal, Poland, Indonesia. Again, just call me Pitbull because I am Mr. Worldwide in terms of Albi. And I've had lots of people talking to me around the stadium because match days. I had someone stop me in the supermarket earlier on and go, "Hey, buying yourself a pasty, are you?" So yeah, thanks so much for all this. Thank you for actually the fan engagement and great that people are really enjoying this. Keep spreading the word because the more involvement and the more sort of fan involvement with this will just make it even better. I'm hopeful soon that I'm going to have another person on the show with me as well, who's a big Plymouth Albion fan, which I think will just add another dimension and actually another voice would be brilliant as well, wouldn't it? But yeah, I've kind of picked up this nickname of Scrummy Paul when I'm walking around by people. Oh, it's Scrummy Paul. I was at first just thinking, maybe I was just looking sharp those days, but no, it's obviously playing in with It's Always Scrummy and Plymouth Scrummy Paul. So should I have this as my new nickname? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It feels a bit like full of myself, which is not what it is. But yeah, Scrummy Paul. But yeah, thanks guys. It's great. Doing this to get sort of people involved in it, and glad that people are sort of enjoying it. Um, looking at the sort of socials as well. Lots of comments. I'll read those out in a second. But yeah, it's almost like this kind of weird sort of celebrity status. So who knows? I might be turning the Christmas lights on in Plymouth soon later this year. Who knows? Or maybe celebrity traitors or something in the future again. But yeah, talking about traitors, the Plymouth Albion podcast that was out last week. I've had a lot of comments about this, and I've had people messaging me saying I'm boycotting it, not listening to it. Another comment I've just got here. I won't be listening to the official pod. We want holistic, unbiased points of view from the fans. I love it. I love that comment. Another comment here. I'm officially flabbergasted. I think that's officially the unofficial. Yeah. guys, I did last episode with it was the scandal of the podcast. But guys, it's all just a bit of fun. I listened to the latest episode. I think it's great. They talked to Liam Bishop and a really interesting life he had playing out in Canada and playing for Ireland on the 20s and all that kind of stuff. Really, really good. But yeah, I'm not telling anybody here to boycott that. It's just a bit of fun. I'm here. I don't have to be. I don't have to. I'm not getting told what to say. I can just poke a bit of fun. But yeah, I'd really highly recommend it. And actually, one thing I've seen in the socials as well is that looks like they're going to have a monthly YouTube video, which will show you videos behind the scenes, like, team talks or offside. So if you don't follow Albion officially on YouTube, I'll really give it a go because it looks like it's going to have some really exciting stuff. But make sure you're also liking It's always Scrummy and Plymouth. On top of that, I've had people going like, oh, I've got a message here saying, are you going to have any merchandise? Yeah, I might look into it. Maybe some bobble hats or something. But yeah, if people get really behind this, could make some merch, could donate profits to the youth academy or something. But yeah, I'm not in this for any form of profit. Just doing this for fun. Just want fan engagement. And if that's the thing, I'll keep you guys posted. If you look on the socials, might look into it, posting pictures. Let me know what you think. But that would be amazing moving forwards. And on top of all this as well, I'm making new friends. So making friends across the club. Liam Bishop, I mentioned, was on the official Albi podcast. Came up to me in a bar after the game and was like, "Oh, you're Scrummy Paul, Scrummy Paul." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah." I was like, "Oh, I've got a fan here." He's like, "No, I'm one of the players actually." I was like, "Oh, ooh, bit orcs," but yeah. Had a fantastic conversation. He was drinking his cloudy lemon. He was dancing away and it did all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I had many of the players come over to talk to me, sort of just saying how they listen to the pod, how they engage with it, saying they want to get involved in the pod. And I even had Shay Cornish say to me he would he would love to come to the show and he doesn't want any money for it. I'm like, mate, I'm not offering any cash out. I'm still getting this phone held up by a plant pot. What do you think I'm dishing out in terms of doing this? In terms of this podcast, I'm not paying anybody, all right? But yeah, hopefully further down the line, I can get a bit of a chat to some of the players, chat to some of the wives and the girlfriends as well. They're saying, yeah, love it. We're listening with chaps and would love to get involved on it. They had some photos on the socials popped up as well. So yeah, really great. Again, what a great set of lads we got there. And it's great that they get involved and actually really want to hear what the fans are saying and they want to get involved. I don't want to be one of those fans who's, disrupting them and just wants to hang out with them all the time. But it's great that they came over to me, had a chat, and they looked like they were having a smashing night as well, which, with all those long away days they've got coming up, that's really good for moving forward. So great, made friends on the show. And it get me thinking as well, I possibly could branch out and get some ex-players on, thinking about dream guests, like someone like Sam Matavesi. What an interesting rugby career he's had. Might have to drop a message, see if he wants to get involved. I was coached rugby once by the legendary Richard Thompson. Maybe get him on. He captained the club for many years. With all his promotions of Graham Dorr as well back in that era. So many things to look forward to as well. So who knows? Could have merch, could have the current players on, could have ex legends on the show as well. And maybe the other thing is if anybody fancies sponsoring this show, so you can help me out, so I can have something not holding my phone up with a plant pot. That'd be great. Dream sponsors. Maybe Larry Spear. Larry Spear's Carpet and Beds. That would be great. Me and him could do a bit of a sing song like the good old days on Heart FM. Not too sure. Also, I've another dream potential sponsor. I've heard that there's those Nando's black or gold cards, and they get like Nando's for free. Maybe I could have something like that, but like for Kitty O'Halloran's. Just free Guinness every time I go in. Something about but anyway, if you're interested, please get in contact about all that sort of stuff. But yeah, exciting stuff for the future. But again, really, 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 really great that the players have sort of approached me, had a little chit chat, and yeah, we've got a smashing group of lads there. Just now, a different undercover message I've received here. So, you may remember I talked about or listened to the previous Albion podcast that I claimed that I heard that the Albion players were getting pasties after the game. I've got a message here from someone saying, do not release your source, but I can assure you players don't get pasties after training. They aren't fed after training. Ooh, bit of scandal there. So, if you're an angry Albion fan with the pasties, it is a reliable source. It's a coach. That's not Ryan Lamb, by the way. But I'm not that really with the source. But they do not get pasties out again. And then and then he's said again. I think it's very good what you're doing to raise the profile of the club, by the way, and keeping the fans up to date. So thank you, unreliable source, for your. Well, no, sorry. Thank you for a reliable source, but a secret reliable source. Thank you for your praise, and thank you for informing us of this very secretive bit of information. And welcome Livy to the show, everybody. It's everybody's favourite song. Actually, I say that I've been looking at the data, Livy, and people tune out when it comes to you. So,
I don't know them.
I'm a stats and data man, and I might have to listen to the fans. To be fair, like the podcasts are long though, so I think you've got the guy kind of the graveyard shift at the end here. So I wouldn't take it personally. I think you've been great. I've heard really positive things as well. But just maybe make sure this is like you've got your A game going on here.
That's my best.
So take it away, Liz. You are going to tell us a rugby sort of story as such.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you some stories about controversial rugby decisions. I don't know about you, but do you remember watching like rugby or other sports with your family and like a family member like shouting at the screen, like the ref has got it wrong?
Not massively. My family were kind of football fans, and we kind of just watched rugby, and they kind of just nodded along whilst I was a bit more invested in this.
Maybe it's not my family then. Okay, so the first one is a story that took place in Wales. A lot of them seem to take place in Wales. Basically, there's a game of rugby. Someone kicked the ball, as you do, and it went off the field and hit a tree, and it got stuck in the tree. So the officials were like, "Don't worry, we'll go get a new ball, everyone. Just take a 5-minute break." Then, whilst they'd gone to get the new ball, sorry, the ball fell down, and someone caught it and ran and scored a try. And obviously, the opposing team were not very happy, but the referee said it stood. How would you feel about that?
So the ball went in the tree. Did they get another ball? Were there two balls in play, or was it just the one?
They went to get another one, and whilst they went to get another one, the ball that was in the tree fell back onto the pitch.
I wonder if that was pre-planned. Do you know, like a sneaky tactic they've been doing in training?
Maybe.
I don't. With Albion, with their main stand, with that kind of curvy roof, lots of balls get caught up there. I'm wondering whether there's like, when you do pinball and the ball sort of goes down the hole and falls down. I wonder if Albion can sort of install something like that and pre-plan that.
And then you get it to land like near the try line.
Exactly. They could pre-plan all that. Interesting.
You're a mathematician. You know about angles, don't you? You could work it out.
Certainly.
Okay.
And have you got any other stories?
I do. So this one. Okay, so before I tell you this story, so my dad had a friend who used to play hockey. He used to play hockey with, and they used to call him the headless chicken because he'd put him in one position and he'd end up on the other side of the field. So this is a bit similar to that. So there was a rugby player. I don't know. Have you heard of him? Because apparently he's the greatest New Zealand fullback of all time. George Napier. Have you heard of George Napier?
No, I have not.
No, me neither. Sorry, but I'm not meant to, have I? So anyway, so he was apparently a really good fullback, and then he retired but continued to play rugby socially. And he was in a social game, and a ball hit him in the chest, and he ran with it and scored a try. So that in itself doesn't seem that controversial because that is what you're meant to do, right? But the controversial part of this is he actually was the referee and forgot.
Okay, so he just kind of caught the ball and went into player mode and just started taking it. I wonder how long that was. I wonder if it's like the full length of the pitch and he was just like dodging people and like sort of twirling around and then chipped over someone's head and everyone's just like, what's going on with this guy? What's he doing? But they were just admiring a legend play.
Yeah, I like to think he did like a swan dive and like landed. But I want to know like when he realised that he actually wasn't playing, he was refereeing.
And then maybe he then got the tee on and took the kick as well. And everyone's just like, this guy's lost the plot.
Do you think he allowed his own goal because he was the referee? Goal, oh God, try. Do you think he allowed his own try because he was the referee? So he could, in theory.
Get back to get back to reading that dummies book, Liv. It's definitely not a goal.
Okay, but also, do you remember? Yeah, I know. Sorry. Do you remember when, like, we were like at Albion and someone kicked the ball and you caught it with one hand whilst holding a drink in another hand, which is this is very impressive. Were you tempted?
Yeah,
Were you
I
tempted
do.
to run with it?
Absolutely not. I was always a skill. I always had a little bit of skill, but yeah. In terms of my running days are over. I tried to do a bit of tag rugby for a bit, and legs can hack it. But yeah, absolutely no temptation for me running on the pitch and doing any of that. Despite me calling it a pub league in the past, great respect for the boys, and I would not be able to cope.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Brilliant, Livs. Thank you so much for doing that. I think you've absolutely smashed that there. And hopefully the viewers, the listeners, the viewers have tuned in for this last little bit.
Fingers crossed.
Thanks a lot, Liz. Take it easy.
Bye.
And that's it, everybody. That is the end of episode 5 of It's Always Scrummy in Plymouth. Thank you again for all your support and thank you for listening. If you're not already, give us a follow on the socials on Instagram. It's Always Scrummy in Plymouth. Facebook, It's Always Scrummy in Plymouth. Give us a follow on Spotify. And if you're feeling very generous, I would love a 5-star review if you feel like I'm deserving of that. And also give us a follow or a subscribe on the YouTube page. So I'll be heading up to Bishop Stortford away next weekend with the Albi Travel fans. Really looking forward to that and cannot wait to inform you guys of how that goes. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Take care. And until next time, Albi, Albi, Albi.